firstly, before we get on, I think we'll definitely chat about Joyce Dubois, because I think that's one of the next big fights coming up. And I keep saying to Ring Raps, my opinion on what's going to happen in that fight keeps changing. And I was just talking to it really does. And I think it's because I'm watching certain things, I'm listening to certain things, and it's swaying daily almost. But before that,
isn't that why it's a beautiful fight, though, man?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you're having those conversations with yourself in your head, then everybody is. That's the beauty of a top fight. We hate sitting here going, this is going to happen, and then that plays out. We hate that.
That's right.
We love the 50-50 chats, man.
Of course, and this is exactly why. I mean, I was just speaking to someone just then on Instagram, and they were saying that they've got Dubois the first 6 rounds, and then they reckon if it goes past that, they don't know if he's going to get Joyce out, and then it could go Joyce's way. So it's a little bit crazy, mate. And just before we touch on that, though, what I wanted to quickly run past you is everything going on. I mean, it's a little bit saturated now. It's sort of gone through the paces and stuff, but everything going on with Wilder and his claims and everything like that. What do you make of it? Because I just want to get your thoughts on that.
On Wilder himself, we've seen loads of bits, haven't we? Excuses from Suits to Water to Mark Brillan to all these bits, right? But I've never actually seen it come out of his mouth until that video. When I saw that video, I was like, my word, man, this is mad. Absolutely crackers, because I looked at it initially, and I can understand why a lot of boxing fans are looking at it and they might think he's lost it. He's absolutely, God knows what's going on there. I looked at it from a place of worry. I'm thinking he needs some good people around him. Somebody's filling his head full of smoke. He needs some good guys around him just to take him to one side and say, listen, this is not the... I think they dealt with this defeat disastrously. It's been a PR disaster from start to finish, right? All from the Suit thing to where we're at right now. I think somebody should have got hold of him and gone, right, okay, we're going to take this like a man. We're going to activate the rematch clause. We're going to go away, dust ourselves off. We'll come back and we'll get this thing going on. And people would have admired that. But right now, the majority of the boxing world are looking at him going, what is he going on about? He's not in the right mental state to be fighting Tyson Fury. Now, that's just from an outside looking in. I don't know him well enough to have an inside view, but that's from the outside looking in. If he's playing us all, if he's created this crazy character in order to stimulate this narrative to make this fight, then, mate, it's genius. It's absolute genius, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Adam, just on that, did you see his most recent tweet? He said something about, I'm fine. He tweeted Tyson saying,
I did see that this morning. Yeah, I did.
So, but do you know what? I just wanted to throw a little point in there. We know the PBC model, the Floyd Mayweather tried and tested model, is to create an undefeated legacy fighter, protect their zero at all costs, and extort as much pay-per-view money as possible out of that zero. It's the model they work on. Do they not have a plan B when their star guys lose a fight?
Doesn't look like it, does it?
Because, look, Tank's undefeated, right? That works for them, right? I remember Adrian Broner, once he lost a fight or two, he was on the scrap heap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not, I don't think they're hot because they tried to use that Floyd template. And as much as we love Floyd, a lot of people keep forgetting, like what Teofimo Lopez said, you can't have the back end Money Mayweather part of the career without the initial Pretty Boy Floyd part.
Yeah, man.
But all these young fighters want maximum reward for minimum output or risk all the time. I know Deontay's not young, but in the sense that he'd kind of been protected, even with his 10 defenses. Okay, Ortiz was a challenge. That was a good test for him. But as soon as he got put in there, even with a washed up, out of shape Tyson Fury, he was banging trouble. And here we are. I don't know. Did you see what Tyson said about, I'm not going to sue you, but I'm not giving you a fight? So since then, the tweet you've seen this morning is a reaction to that. Yeah. So how much of it is smokes and mirrors and how much of it is legit that he's cuckoo? Who knows?
I'm with Adam, because I think as soon as and like Adam said, we hear it all, we see it on Twitter, we see it on Instagram, we see all the posts, the memes, and you sit there and you think, this is all a little bit crazy, but he's not said it. He's actually gone quiet. Maybe he's in the gym cracking on, learning, getting his footwork right. And when he come out with a video after so long, just as Adam says, when I saw it, I was gobsmacked. I literally looked at him and thought,
what about the music?
Real. But this is what I mean. It was like a WWE video where just before they're about to come in, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin I was waiting for. It was crazy, mate, when that happened. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who he's going to fight next. Can he come back from this? I think he's definitely, as Adam said, he's definitely created a little bit of a buzz around him again, maybe for the wrong reasons. But if he fights again, people are going to want to see if he has improved, if he is going to knock that next opponent out, if it isn't Fury. So it's a little bit of a mad one.
Adam,
it's
is
interesting
his
regarding the
future at
legal.
Bridgewater? Is Deontay's future at Bridgerweight?
Stop it.
Is
man.
it?
Stop it. You can't get me on this. Right?
No. Okay,
Getting Adam started now.
Let me rephrase the question. Could Deontay Wilder carve out a second chapter of a career in Bridgerweight? Because that's his weight.
Yeah. Listen, I've got a whole catalogue for you on Bridgerweight. yeah.
The only thing I like about it is the little boy that it's in honor of. That's the only thing I like about it.
Yeah, the name's fantastic because of that. But I think, I mean, a couple of people are against it. I just think that they say that it's going to ruin the history of boxing. It's not the way it should go. I'm not sure how I feel, but I do think there's quite a big gap in between, and it might be nice to get some fights at that weight. So it's gonna be a bit like Marmite, isn't it? Some people.
Lads, the Bridgerweight thing, you've touched upon it, right? The sentiment of naming it after the 6-year-old hero is absolutely bang on, right? There's not one boxing fan that's going to argue about naming it that. That's not what anybody's got a problem with. The problem is that when you come out and you say, right, okay, well, this is from a safety aspect. This is what we're trying to do because the upper weight limits between light heavyweight and cruiserweight are too big. So therefore, we're going to shorten that. And then we're going to bring in these guys because we've got a lot of small heavyweights when you're talking about 6'9" monsters in Tyson Fury and guys that are weighing 260 pounds. The guys at 220 pounds can't really compete with him. Yeah, okay, I'm on board. You've got me so far. And then what they do is that they scrap the situation between cruiserweight and light heavyweight. So when they were going to drop it to 190 pounds, they haven't. They kept it at 200. So all they've done is introduced a weight of 24 pounds between 200 and this Bridgerweight thing at 224, and it just stinks of a cash grab. And the reason, and I'm sorry, Maurizio, if you're watching this, the reason that they have opted to use the sentimentality of using Young Bridger as the naming aspect of that weight is to deflect everybody's attention away from a blatant cash grab. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Brilliant marketing, yeah?
It's nonsense, mate. I mean, it's only a WBC thing right now, isn't it? The other guys haven't got it.
Is it fair to say, even though there were less divisions at the time, is it fair to say that probably the world felt similar when cruiserweight was invented?
Maybe. Listen, it's happened before, hasn't it? You know what I mean? We only had a certain amount of categories when all this all kicked off, and then I'm sure people kicked off at those times when what you're doing super middleweight? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? You know what I mean? All these types of things. Yeah, I'm sure it's happened before.
Is it not just the same thing as when they were talking about making super heavyweight? Is it not just effectively just doing that in reverse? You've basically made heavyweight super heavyweight, and Bridgerweight will be kind of what traditional heavyweight was.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is, isn't it? That's exactly what it is. Because back in the day, the traditional heavyweights were this weight that where Bridgerweight is currently at.
They were much smaller. Alf, go on. Should we dive into Dubois?
Yes, let's definitely dive into it because again, my mind swayed in the last 2 minutes we've been talking. I'm now thinking someone else. So I don't know what to think. No, I keep going back and forth. I at the moment, I'll be honest, I reckon that Joyce is going to do it. I think that I really do, and this is what I mean. I've been swaying, and I was of the opinion that I think the bar's going to, smash him around the ring at one point. But then I started thinking about the way that Joyce has come through some big shots in the past, and he puts a lot of pressure on his opponents. And will Dubois actually be able to take the relentless pressure, with that pure, the power punches just relentlessly coming at his face? You sit there and you think that you really don't know what's going to happen on the night. So what do you guys think?
You nailed it. You just said everything. They're the caveats. They're the questions. Everything. So it depends on how you answer that question. And you're right to think, like you've just said, that that Joyce will come through that, and he will be the guy when you get into 8, 9, 10, because of the engine, because of the tank that he's got on him, that he'll be able to drown Daniel Dubois with all those big muscles and that lactic acid maybe kicking in down the back stretch, because he will be making him work at a pace that he doesn't necessarily want to be working at.
Yeah.
So
do you think it's strange, Adam? Sorry, mate. Do you think it's strange that Dubois is such a big favourite in this fight, considering their experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about a guy that should have won an Olympic gold medal. I think it's been quite disrespectful towards him. He was robbed against Tony Yoka, right? Let's be straight.
Absolutely,
he was the Olympic gold medalist. His amateur pedigree is absolutely legit. He's older in years as well, so therefore there's a little bit more maturity when it comes to obviously dealing with a situation like this. I know that he's relatively young still in his professional career, but for me, I don't even look into that because the amount of the level of opposition that he's had during that professional start-up. Listen, this is a proper fight, and this is the beauty of it. You're having conversations in your own head. You're having conversations. I'm having conversations. Everybody's having conversations about how will this play out, and it will change from day to day, week to week. It'll change when you get to see these guys interviewed. It'll change throughout the course of fight week. It'll probably change throughout the course of the fight, man, because that's the beauty of stuff like this. There's too much. We talked about O's before with PBC, didn't we? There's too much stress on nonsense like that. You know what I mean? Let's get top fights made. This is the big stress that I think promoters should be concentrating on, rather than who's A side, who's B side, tit for tat, this, that, and the other. Just make top fights. Yeah. And I give everybody connected to this credit: the fighters, the management teams, the promotion companies, the television channel, for getting this on with behind closed doors, without pay-per-view, to give us this fight at this stage of where these lads are at during a pandemic. I think is absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait.
Completely agree. Because they could have waited a long time to make this fight. Because, like you say, they're both relatively, obviously Joyce is less fresh in his professional career, and he's been around a bit more.
But look at the stakes. Look at this. Yeah. This is the thing. Yeah. They jumped on it because of the WBO situation. We don't know what AJ is going to do. Are they going to put Fury and AJ together? Is AJ going to relinquish that belt? He might not. He might do, though. And if he does, Usyk's going to need a dance partner. And the dance partner right now is Daniel Dubois. So if Joyce can come in and steam it, we're rolling, baby. There's a world title shot there for somebody.
Absolutely.
Do you guys think, do you think that Daniel is potentially the hardest one-punch hitter that Joyce has faced?
Quite potentially, but it's difficult to tell because we haven't seen Dubois under pressure just yet. We haven't seen him under pressure. Can he perform under pressure?
What was the fight when he was swinging? Was it Entete or was it Ebenezer? Who was the one where he was swinging, swing for swing?
He was having a go with Latte, wasn't he, at one point?
Latte, bro, that was... I keep saying this, and every time I mention this fight. For someone of his age, I don't care how big he is, I don't want my fighter getting hit that much in exchanges. I've said it. I'll keep saying it. I think at the age of 20 or 21, you shouldn't be taking solid shots like that. For the fan, great. I'm saying for the fight, I'm thinking like Customato when he used to speak to Muhammad Ali and say, Muhammad, your footwork's not as good. You're taking too much punishment. I'm like, that was too much punishment too early in his career. I'm just saying, man. I'm not saying.
It's a fair point.
I don't like the fact that he was willing to get hit that much by big shots. This is heavyweights, man. This ain't featherweight. This ain't lightweight. This ain't even middleweight. Like, every bang is brain damage. Yeah. So my point is, I oversimplified it, Alfie. First 6 rounds is Dubois knockout. Backstretch is Joyce points. Simple as for me. It's bread and butter.
Mate, don't be surprised if Joyce stops him.
This is the thing as well. We are underestimating him.
He hits hard, man. He hits hard.
I'm not underestimating him.
And there's some big muscles there that just might gas. You don't know. You don't know because he's never fed to that pace.
100%. No, I could see a TKO. 100% I could see a TKO. I really could. Talking about WBO and kind of pinball rankings, I was talking to Kevin Barry about a fortnight ago, and he's got his eye on this fight because he was making a bit of a dig, like tongue-in-cheek at Frank Warren, saying he didn't know how he managed to bump up Dubois to like mandatory or like #1 contender. So after Usyk, because originally Parker was higher than that. And that will take us on to our next topic that Alfie definitely wants to get into.
Yeah, so obviously Parker and Junior Farr are fighting soon as well. So what do you make of that, the Battle of New Zealand?
It's a great fight, man. Do you know something? I'm pretty jealous of everybody that's in New Zealand right now because, one, they're allowed in stadiums. So that people can actually rock up and watch this.
None of this crap.
None of that. And I kind of like Joseph's attitude towards this because if we're really honest, he don't need to be here. He's got so many opportunities elsewhere. I mean, look what he's done during lockdown. He's made himself a superstar, hasn't he, with all these viral videos. Yeah. People will pay big money to watch that kid fight against whoever it may be. So therefore, for him to take this against a real live challenger in Junior Farr is I think he's absolutely, again, we've just been talking about Joyce Dubois and their attitude of getting this fight on and making it happen during these crazy times. And this is another one that we should all be celebrating. We slag everybody off, don't we, for not making fights. Brilliant. Give them all a big round of applause and a bit of a pat on the back for making this. But I think, again, it's a wonderful opportunity for Joseph just to remind everybody of how good he is because of what he's done with the viral videos. It's quite easy to just forget that, he used to be the champion. He's the guy that AJ beat, and he's a funny, nice guy. He's actually a killer, man. He's got fast hands, and he knows what he's doing, man. He knows what he's doing.
The other day, I watched the White Parker fight back. Oh, that was an absolute brawl.
Stick another round on that. Who wins it?
Absolutely, mate. White was out on his feet at one point, wasn't he? And Parker, at the end of that video, I actually made a video for my page on the boxer showing respect at the end of a fight, and them two. I mean, it never really got too heated on the lead up because Parker's not really like that as a fighter. He's one of boxing's good guys for sure. But they showed so much respect off because they knew how close that fight was. And I think White sat there and thought, I got lucky because he done very well himself. But he knows that could have went the other way as well if it went on for a little bit longer. Which I think people forget with Parker because, like you say, he's quite a funny guy. I even interviewed him, and it was like having a chat with a mate. It really was. He's such a nice, down-to-earth guy. So I think that everyone is wanting him to win, and even if he don't, I still think he's got lots of options out there. This isn't his first. It wouldn't be his first loss. So I think he's still always going to be a contender. It's just he wants to get that win to then start fighting for belts again, doesn't he?
Alfie, you know what's strange about Parker? I mean, obviously we forget a bit of dubious refereeing on the behalf of Matchroom, and the first guy to go the distance with AJ, then went down for the first time in his career from Dillian. So fair play to Dillian.
Yeah.
But he followed that up. He followed that up with a little bit of a headbutt as well. So Parker was actually a bit dazed in the middle rounds of that fight, and he came on again at the end of the fight. Adam, I've got Parker along with Fury, I've got Parker as having the best chin in heavyweight.
He's definitely got a chin on him. He's definitely got a chin.
That's the one time he's been down against Dillian's mean left hook. And Dillian was a good 1+ stone heavier than him. He's not the tallest guy, Parker. By the way, apart from his viral videos, have you seen his weight and conditioning training he's been doing? He looks like Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
Mate, you can't say that. He'll love that. If he sees this, he'll love that.
mate, no, because his brother's a fitness coach, isn't he? He's slightly, I say smaller brother. He's still a massive dude.
John, you're talking about John, yeah.
Yeah, mate, did you notice, though, they were very cordial, him and Junior Farr. Obviously, Farr's been Wilder's sparring partner before Fury. Mm-hmm. But that brings me on to the other point. What's Parker, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, maybe, 6'4".
Junior Farr, 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, he's a tall guy, yeah.
He's massive, brother, he's massive.
Yeah.
He's a huge human being. Like, how... I haven't seen too much of Farr. I don't know if he's a mover. I know they're 2-2 from the amateurs. And Kevin Barry also made a big point that Joseph, after all the niceties, really has a point to prove. Because did you know he lost his place on the New Zealand Olympic team because Junior beat him in the final?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot at stake, man. A lot of bragging rights at stake.